Everybody's here, so we'll start the meeting. I'd like to call to order the Monday, July 1st, 2024 meeting of the Lake Zurich Village Board of Trustees. Clerk Johnson, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Poynton,
Here.
Trustee Bobrowski,
Here.
Trustee Euchre,
Here.
Trustee Riley,
Here.
Trustee Shagru,
Here.
Trustee Mark Spicone, and Trustee Greg White are absent and excused.
Okay, thank you. Would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for residents to comment briefly on matters included on the agenda and otherwise of interest to the Board of Trustees. Public comment is limited to 30 minutes in total and up to 5 minutes per speaker. When you step to the podium, if you haven't already done so, please sign in and identify yourself with your name and address for the record. We will take public comments from the sign-in sheet list in the order in which folks signed in. And right now, I have one person who signed in, and that was Joshua Jewell. So Joshua, podium is all yours. Anybody else for public comment out there before? No? Okay, good deal. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here requesting a reconsideration of the current ordinance prohibiting backyard chickens in Lake Zurich. That is 5-2-1, certain animals prohibited. I believe this change can bring numerous benefits to the community, both practical and educational, and it aligns with progressive steps of other nearby municipalities that have been taken. Firstly, I'd like to discuss the benefits of allowing backyard chickens. Urban and suburban backyard chickens provide a source of fresh, organic eggs, contribute to both local food security as well as overall health benefits for the children. According to the USDA, a single hen can lay anywhere between 200 to 300 eggs per year. For families, this means a reliable source of food, healthy food, source rich in protein and essential nutrients. In addition, raising chickens can provide an educational experience for children, teaching them about responsibility, animal care, and where their food comes from. Moreover, backyard chickens can contribute to a sustainable lifestyle. Chickens are excellent at composting food scraps, which reduce household waste and produce natural fertilizer for gardens. The EPA highlights that a massive cause of municipality waste is actually food waste, and allowing our chickens to recycle those food scraps can help mitigate that risk. Excuse me. We also would like to consider a broader trend of the urban and suburban farming. Many communities around us have successfully revised their ordinances to allow backyard chickens. For instance, Palatine, they recently updated the regulations to permit backyard chickens, recognizing both the benefits for local families and the environment itself. Buffalo Grove has implemented a pilot program allowing residents to limit the number of hens they have and emphasize, to keep a limited number of hens, emphasizing community education and proper management. And also Highland Park has adjusted their rules to enable backyard chickens, fostering a more sustainable and community-focused environment. In all of these communities, careful regulations has ensured that backyard chickens in a well-managed do not become a nuisance. For example, typically limiting the number of hens, prohibiting roosters, and requiring secure and clean coops will help set back, and setting the coops themselves back away from neighboring properties will help with the additional nuisances that some people have concerned. Statistics from these areas show that proper regulations that impact neighbors are minimal. According to a survey conducted by American Planning Association, over 90% of respondents in communities with backyard chickens reported no issues of noise, odor, or other nuisances. Those that had were rooster related. Obviously, people don't like roosters waking them up at 4 a.m., nor would I. By allowing backyard chickens in Lake Zurich can continue the these forward-thinking communities that have also had promoting sustainability education, and local food production. I propose that we adopt similar regulations, ensuring that the potential concerns for, backyard chickens, as well as the cleanliness, are met through guidelines and enforcement. So in conclusion, I urge the board to reconsider the ordinance prohibiting backyard chickens. By embracing this change, we can ensure that communities' sustainability, provide educational opportunities for children, and align with successful practices in other neighboring municipalities. A few things we can do to move forward would be we can create a committee established by board members, local residents, and experts can draft a new ordinance allowing backyard chickens. Community input would be holding forums and surveys, asking locals about their input, addressing any concerns that they have for this. We could do a pilot program like Buffalo Grove has done. Implementing this would allow the number of households in the area to have backyard chickens under specific regulations with regular monitoring and evaluation. And others, we could do reviews and adjustments. So after a set period of time with the pilot program, we can have people come back out, audit the area, see what's going on, make necessary adjustments, and finalize an ordinance for a broader implementation. So together we can make Lake Zurich a more sustainable and community-based and focused place to live. And thank you for your time. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. We'll take that under consideration, so we'll get back with you. Okay. Anybody else on public comment? Nope. Then I'll close public comment for tonight and move on to the consent agenda. Titles of the consent agenda will be read by the clerk and approved by a single roll call vote. Any item may be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote by any member of the board. Clerk Johnson, please read the titles.
5A, approval of minutes for the village board meeting of June 17th, 2024. 5B, approval of semi-monthly warrant register dated July 1st, 2024, totaling $1,054,269.37. 5C, approval of minutes from the village board executive session on May 6th, 2024. 5D, ordinance granting a special use permit for Lake County Barbell at 290 Tulsa Road, assigned ordinance 2024-07-574. 5E, full release of letter of credit for Lifetime at 400 North Rand Road. 5F, resolution approving the sale of property and authorizing execution of sale contract for 32 and 36 Miansky Drive in the amount of $87,000. 5G, ordinance amending Title 3 of Chapter 3 of the Village of Lake Zurich Municipal Code to increase authorized Class A-1 full-service restaurant and Class V video gaming liquor licenses for Playoffs Bar and Grill, located at 884 South Rand Road, Unit H, assigned ordinance 2024-07-575. 5H, intergovernmental agreement between the Lake County Storms Water Management Commission and the Village of Lake Zurich for the North Branch Buffalo Creek improvements at Bristol Trails Park.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions or any discussion desired on any of the items on the consent agenda? You do?
No, I don't.
You don't, okay. Anybody else? I've got 4 items that I have comments on, and I'm going to start with item, no separate vote, just a comment. First one is D, the ordinance granting a special use permit for Lake County Barbell at 290 Tulsa Road. This one is requesting a special use permit to operate a physical fitness facility within the industrial park for the property located at 290 Tulsa Road. Oftentimes with our consent agenda, we blow through these things. They're usually easy things or smaller things to talk about. But sometimes we have items on the consent agenda that need a couple of comments, so that's why I'm taking the time on these items. So for years, we have heard the Industrial Parks Council representatives state that they're dead set against this kind of business. And I see Mr. Nicholas Natruz, he's in the back there, so you can hear this. It's not going to affect the vote, I don't think. That the industrial park is dead set against these types of businesses in the park, citing a myriad of potential dangers that could befall users of certain sites, a reduction in safety, less protection for the businesses, et cetera, et cetera. Yet some of the building owners themselves are routinely bringing these special use items forward, and now we have a business that wants to be open 24 hours a day, or at least have customers who will have access 24 hours a day in the industrial park, which flies in the face of what the industrial park usually wants. I don't blame the applicant, who will clearly save money on the rent because there's a significant difference between what the industrial park charges for rent and what the regular retailers do. A significant difference. So it just seems odd to me that these types of businesses continue to be brought forward. In the meantime, good luck to you with the business. I hope it's successful. The next item that I have issues on, anybody want to comment on that? Besides me? Okay. The next one is the full release of letter of credit for Lifetime at 400 North Old Rand Road. Lifetime provided a guarantee of site improvements in the form of a letter of credit for $2,253,433.05 as performance and payment security for site work at this facility. If you've seen the Lifetime building, I think you can be pretty confident that they've done everything that they were supposed to do. They've responded to every request made by the village and the neighbors. This includes excavation and grading improvements, a high level of landscaping, water main and sanitary sewer improvements, stormwater improvements on Old Rand Road and Gulfview. These improvements have been successfully completed and expected. Lifetime went over and above and beyond the call of duty on this project and listened to the residents when they constructed that building. So, any comments on that one?
No, but thanks for highlighting that, I appreciate it.
Okay. Next one is a resolution approving the sale of property and authorizing execution of sale for contract for 32 and 36 Miansky. Roca Builders request to purchase these two properties, 32 and 36 Miansky, from the village for the purpose of building one single-family resident on each lot to be built within 2 years of closing. I just want to bring to the residents' attention that this puts two more properties bought by previous village administrations back on the tax roll. We're now down to 2 properties left, and we will continue to field potential opportunities in order to get to 0. The last one is an intergovernmental agreement between the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission and the Village of Lake Zurich for the North Branch Buffalo Creek improvements at Bristol Trail Park. This grant saved the village property taxpayers $494,000. This item was budgeted for about a $560,000 expenditure to fix significant stormwater management issues. Mike, I already warned you that I was going to pull this and talked about it. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about what happened here.
So I can't say enough good things about SMC. They've been really a great partner to have over the years for Lake Zurich. Positive reinforcement that we're doing the right thing. When they were looking for partners to partner with for this money that's out there from the DCEO, we were the first group that they called. And why? Because they knew we would be ready to go. Kurt and his team are always looking for opportunity to partner with local municipalities for these types of projects. And again, Mayor, as you mentioned, $500,000 project, our local match is $66,000. So, great deal for the community.
And we'll fix the problem that's been over there for years.
Yeah, since 2013, right?
Yeah, yep. So anyways, like I said, this was previously funded, fully funded by the village at $560,000. And just because we were ready, we have plans, we have all kinds of plans. And Mike and his guys were shovel-ready. We ended up getting a grant of $490,000, and it's only $66,000 out of our taxpayer pocket. That's a great job. Thanks, Mike. Okay, that's it for me. Any other board questions, comments? Okay, then may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Anybody?
I'll move.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
And Clerk Johnson, please call the roll. Mary Beth?
I moved, and Bobrowski second.
Trustee Bobrowski?
Aye.
Trustee Euchre?
Aye.
Trustee Riley?
Aye.
Trustee Sugru?
Aye.
Mayor Poynton?
Aye. Okay, consent agenda passes. We'll move on to new business. The first item of new business, Trustee Euchre.
Thank you, Mayor. Agenda item 6A, waiving of the competitive bid process and approval of agreement with Pertano Construction for emergency Main Street storm sewer repairs and the amount not to exceed $174,071.19. On June 22nd, 2024, a storm occurred late Saturday evening into the early Sunday morning of June 23rd that brought severe thunderstorms and flash flooding, with the Lake Zurich rain gauge recording 3.96 inches of rain. In the early morning of Sunday, June 23rd, 2024, a section of the village's storm sewer line backed up, causing the roadway to heave upwards. This section of storm sewer is located on West Main Street between Miansky Drive and Lake Street, adjacent to the promenade. Given the contributing factors of the amount of rain that fell, the duration of the event, the lake level, and the age of the infrastructure, staff suspects the pressure from that water may have caused the pipe to fail, resulting in a collapse underneath the roadway. In an effort to mobilize for emergency repairs to be finalized before the July 4th holiday, staff recommends emergency approval with Pertano Construction to replace approximately 350 feet of storm sewer in the subject area with water main quality pipe with pressure-tight seals.
Mike?
Well, I'm happy to announce as of 4:30 this afternoon, Main Street is back open and the repair is final. So another shout out to partners, Pertano, being in town. They've been here with us the last couple of projects. Great partner to have. They mobilized instantly on Sunday. They were out there with us, evaluating the project, evaluating the issue, and mobilized that Monday morning. I can't say enough about those guys as well. So as Trustee Euchre described the incident and all the variables involved, we believe that it was just a perfect storm with all the contributing factors. We are closed up as of this afternoon. Water main quality pipe is in the ground and hedging forward. So it will be open, or it is open for traffic, but it'll be available for the 4th of July holiday as well.
Perfect. And this was an budgeted expense of about 170. That's an estimate. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but $170,000. But
Yeah.
we picked up $494,000 from SMC, so it was good, fortuitous for us to
Right.
for that to happen.
I should have mentioned as well is the estimates tracking. We're looking to be well under the max allowed amount.
Oh, okay.
So.
And don't forget Ray from Manhart, who was out there every day.
Ray Scully, another, with Manhart, he's a great, I can't say enough good things about the team that we have with our project infrastructure team. Between Manhart, Ray, Kevin, Jody, and then Pertano, it's been really successful over the last couple of years.
So we saved 4th of July, Independence Day. We saved the Lions. You were able to save the Lions parade on July the 21st,
All good.
Got those damn beaches open.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, anybody have any more comments?
The only thing I have to say is thank you to you and your team and the outside team as well. I saw you guys out there right away. I saw a lot of comments on social media complaining about the road being closed, but I was thrilled at how fast you guys got to work on this and found the cause of it.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Good? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the competitive bid process and approve an agreement with Pertano Construction for emergency Main Street storm sewer repairs in the amount not to exceed $174,071.19.
Second, please.
Second, Riley.
Riley? Kathleen, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Euchre,
Aye.
trustee Riley,
Aye.
trustee Chagru,
Aye.
trustee Bobrowski,
Aye.
Mayor Pointon.
Aye. Okay. That's the end of new business for tonight. We're going to move on to the president's report. And we have a special request from Block Nirvana for a 30-day extension. So, Ray, you want to give us a little background? And then we will allow the Block folks to make a presentation. Ed Warpinski can make a presentation. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. As the board may recall, back on November 1st, 2021, the Village Board approved a special use permit to allow a dispensary to go into the location of the former TGIF property on Rand Road. Typically, our special use permits have a 2-year time limit on them that they have to be acted upon within that 2-year period in order to be valid. Unfortunately, at that time, Justice Block did not take advantage of it, and as the expiration date in November, end of November approached, they had requested and I had granted a 6-month extension so that they had additional time, at which that time they had said that they would have more than enough time over the next 6 months to bring the project to a close and be operational and open as of today, July 1st. Unfortunately, that is not the case. We have been contacted, been in regular communication over the past couple of weeks in particular, as we had noted the absence of urgency up until very recently. Mr. Warpinski, on the behalf of Justice, the applicant, has asked for an additional time period in which they can complete the project. I believe his request is till the end of July, but we'll let him make the request and he can give the reasons and justification for that. At this point, as of today, unless the board directs me to do something different, and again, this is not a voting item, but I will be asking for your feedback and direction on how to proceed. As of today, that special use permit would expire, which means that they would lose their entitlement. If they were to continue or wish to continue, they would have to start the planning and zoning commission process and ultimately to the village board, that special use permit process over again. Or they would decline and move on and work something out with Hamilton Partners, who manages the property on the behalf of the property owner. So I don't have anything more at this point. Let Mr. Warpinski approach the board and make his request. And then, like, I'm not asking for a vote, but would be asking for your feedback on if you would like me as the village manager to do something different with the special use permit. Thanks.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I represent my team here, Botavi, Justice, Nirvana, regarding 676 South Rand Road in Lake Zurich, the Block dispensary. We fully understand the board's frustrations and the patience that has expired. This has been a long process for everybody, well over 2 years, and we were slightly delayed over the past few months due to a potential tenant situation, subtenant situation, and we feel like we're back on the right track at this point, and we'd like to show you that we're making the progress that the board would like to see at this point. Even though we did not make our deadline of July 1st and we fully understand the consequences, we'd like the opportunity to complete within the next 30 days. Let's see here. I am not sure how to, oh, nice. So right now we have various trades on site, working morning till night, working weekends. We just passed our rough inspections, our ceiling inspection was completed. All the drywall's taped, sanded, walls are being primed. The ceiling grid has been installed, and there was a ceiling inspection that was passed today. The hot water heater has been installed along with the drinking fountains and mop sink. Plumbers are on site. The exterior horizontal siding is also nearing completion. The millwork cabinets have been delivered, the first round of them, and installation started today. Sprinkler heads were replaced, and we've started the interior epoxy flooring. Additionally, we have the exterior canopies in production, and the sign permit has been submitted. Now, the exterior signs may or may not make the August 1st date that we are requesting as an extension. However, we will put up temporary signs if those are not completed in time. We have started electrical trim out, low voltage trim out, and the low voltage cables are being pulled. We are scrambling to make up for lost time. We understand the delays really threw a wrench in the works here, and essentially we are on the right track. Let's see here. Here's a few pictures of the progress being made. It's starting to actually look like a store. We have the exterior you can see that is nearing completion. Interior epoxy flooring has been started. We have various trades trimming out the electrical, the mechanical, plumbing, all that, and you can see the water heater and the mop sink have been installed. I know this is going to be difficult to see here, but we've basically tried to paint a picture. Here's a Gantt chart showing the trade progression. Now, these aren't to a T, but there's going to be a little bit of flex here and there with some of the dates. But the bottom line is we would like to be completed, final punched out and everything by July 31st. Go the wrong way. Sorry. Some additional assurances that construction will be completed before August 1st. We've doubled the construction crew size with the crews working every day, including weekends. We were offered, or we asked for an exception to the no weekend work rule, and we are fully utilizing that. So we appreciate the opportunity to work weekends. I'm a project manager with over 20 years experience. I come from Revolution, built several dispensaries for them, and I will be working side by side with High Energy to make sure that this project's done within the next 30 days. CJ's received timeline commitments from all the various trade contractors, vendors, and other resources. And we would like to continue to provide updates to Ray, who will hopefully pass along the information twice a week, emails more if necessary. And, we're open to considering any other sort of tangible assurances that you guys may consider. We'd be willing to, post another bond or have discussions about other opportunities that, we definitely want to partner with Lake Zurich and make sure that you guys all know that we are fully vested and committed to getting this done on time. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and I don't know if this is appropriate to have any questions, comments, but if you guys have anything, I'm open.
Is there anybody else on the team who would like to speak briefly?
Greg?
Greg Winters. Okay. Okay.
My name's Greg Winter. I'm with Hamilton Partners. I represent the landlord. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Over 2 years ago, I stood before this board advocating for justice. At that time, I never would have guessed that today they would still not be open and in this predicament. While not all of the delays have been their fault, I do not believe there is a good reason why they are not open today. I, along with my partners, have been disappointed and frustrated by the delays. This is not how we do business as an organization, and I apologize that the board must spend time on this issue. That being said, I believe some of the people who bear responsibility for this delay are no longer with justice. I think it's also worth noting that a large portion of the delay over the last 2 years was waiting for the state to approve the license, the use permit. And I've been very impressed with the recent progress and am encouraged by the current commitment to complete the build-out and open the premises. Replacing the tenant would take time with several issues to work through, not to mention the time it will take to start from scratch with a replacement tenant. Given the recent progress and the desire to get the premises open for business, I respectfully request that you approve this extension that's being asked for.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Giovanni. I am corporate counsel for Nirvana Center Dispensaries. We are a retail cannabis operator based in Michigan and Arizona, and we have opened over 30 to 40 retail stores throughout the country. And essentially in fall 23, we were brought in by the Justice Block team to start and finish this job essentially as a financing, development, and operating partner. And since then, we pulled the permits in November, got the demo permit in November, got the building permits in January. We are now, I know we ran into some delays, and despite these delays, 90% complete, we believe that we just need additional time. We're very close. We've financed over $1 million into this job, and we're very close. Just give us additional time to get this job done.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
We're gonna have CJ with High Energy Construction.
I'm CJ Norris, High Energy Construction. I'm an in-house GC for Nirvana out of Michigan. In the last number of months that I've been with Nirvana, we've completed a large number of projects like this, and I'm the general contractor. The buck stops with me. I've been working with everybody here on the team, and this is all my responsibility. As they mentioned, we did have about a 30-day delay in the middle because there was confusion about a tenant, but other than that, we've made steady progress. We have all the products on order. Things are being delivered daily. We have a great group of people here from your own hometown doing the electrical, the HVAC. And matter of fact, one of the problems we had in the middle of construction that we didn't even bring to anybody in the building department was that when we opened this building up, and I have pictures in my folder here, but this was an old restaurant. And that old restaurant had air conditioning, ductwork, and so forth. And when we opened up the ceilings, that ductwork was greasy and slimy and nasty. It was horrible. And luckily, Martin Enterprises came back to us and said that ComEd had a program in your area here. And they came back, put a whole package together. Of course, we had to apply for these grants and so forth. And what we did is we gutted the whole building. We took all the ductwork out. We got 2 brand new AC rooftop units that are being delivered and installed. And all this ductwork, the building is crystal clean, wall to wall. We ripped out the insulation. We redid the whole building. And now this is a very energy efficient building in your community. This is well done and well replaced equipment. And all the money was put in the right places. And it was due to everybody working together in the community and people bringing items to us. And since things have ramped back up since our delay, we've got a lot completed. And I even sent an email to Gary. The community is welcome anytime from the board to come in and stop in. I think you mentioned, Mayor, you were in today. The building is fully epoxied. We have all the ceiling grids up. We passed a ceiling inspection. We actually called in for a plumbing final today. I believe Mary from your office said she had concerns with the drinking fountain, so we're gonna supply some information to move that. But we're, as you know, Gio mentioned, we're 90% complete, and we're ready to finish, and we're ready to open the doors, and you're gonna have a beautiful building. I mean, we got all new canopies. The whole outside was redone. And when you walk inside, you're gonna see a beautiful polished crystal floor with new cabinets and reflective ceiling with these beautiful lights. And we're gonna have crystal chandeliers in the entryway. This is gonna be a polished building. You're gonna love this building. And this is what we do, and this is what we're about. And we appreciate the time, and thank you for the consideration, but we will meet the deadlines.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for Sarosh? And I know Mary was out there.
Yes.
When you went out and looked at the building, did you have any concerns that you could share with us that might preclude them from not making the August 1st?
Actually, we don't have any concerns about their ability to be able to complete the project if given 30 more days. Mary went out this morning, took a look at the building both outside and inside, spoke to the trades at the premises, and saw that they were in keeping with the timeline that they had provided the village from last week. And it was her opinion that they have a pretty good chance, if they continue at today's rate of work, to be able to complete the project by the end of the month. There were a couple of items, such as the drinking fountains that she noted, where a wall had been moved that was not on the original plans. So she's requested the architect to provide a solution or bring the wall back to where it was originally planned and approved on the stamped drawings. So that conversation is underway right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've already contacted the architect, and we will be moving that drinking fountain because the wall is too tight there.
Right. It was an accessible drinking fountain that did not have sufficient accessibility to the fountain for a week.
So do the drawings have to change and get approved before they can do that, or?
They've already done the work, so they would
They've
have to
already
show
done the
us
work.
what they, how
Yeah,
they
okay.
wish to remedy the situation. That's what
Yeah,
we need to see.
we will be submitting drawings they're called as-to drawings, which is normal process for a building like this. And we will submit these immediately because the architect is already working on it. And as she notated today, as soon as we did the measurement, there's a 15-inch requirement. We did not meet that with that the wall being there. So the architect today is on it already. We'll have those drawings to the city right away.
Okay.
Even with the 4th of July, our architect will get them to the city right away.
Okay. Board?
Yeah, a couple questions. So you said be completed by July 1st. Are you opening August 1st? Or July 31st? Are you opening August 1st?
Construction will be completed. We likely will not be open for business that day. We're gonna do our absolute best to try and meet that deadline, but the deadline is for construction receiving our COO and working our way towards obtaining our state approval, our IDFPR approval.
So what's your estimated timeline to open?
I would say we'll probably be within 2 weeks of that. That's the goal.
I guess the reason why I'm asking is, we approved this 3 years ago. 30 days seems pretty graceful ask, but the thing is, there's been lots of communication from the village throughout this. I know there's been a change of leadership in terms of who's running the project, but the ordinance hasn't changed and the approval hasn't changed. It's been the same dates the whole time, and the communication around it has been lacking. And so there's been a number of other businesses that have come to Lake Zurich, offered similar use. It's a saturated market. We've had villages and municipalities north of us, south of us, east of us, west of us open up facilities in those 3 years. So new projects come in, get approved, open up. And so the fact that we've had other uses come across, it's just concerning in terms of that point, so.
Fully understood.
And don't forget the loss of revenue, because
Exactly. 'Cause, yeah.
you and us and the state lost a ton of money in the last 2.5 years. So, and we took our time even authorizing cannabis in Lake Zurich. We waited a full year after the initial bill passed because we knew that the trailer bills were gonna clean up a messy built to begin with, and you were probably part of it with your licenses, so you know what I'm talking about. So we approved it, you guys came in, we thought we would be at the beginning of the curve of revenue for that, and we're way past that, in my estimation, because like William said, we've got them on every point of the compass now, and we still don't have one open. So, anyway. And B?
What's the timeline been for other businesses of the similar nature for ID FPR approval?
Typically, we can get them in there if 90% of the inspection is regarding surveillance and those sort of compliance items. So usually, they'll come in, take a look. We'll need about 2 days to make corrections and then have a reinspection. Sometimes we just send in pictures depending on how it goes, but it's usually a pretty quick process. We just have to make sure everything is dialed in from the video management standpoint, and everything's connected to the police. So we're gonna try and scramble and make all that happen, but right now, the name of the game is to get the COO as fast as we can and simultaneously be working towards that compliance-related IDFPR inspection as well.
Okay, you explained the ID FPR approval and inspection and what your role is in it. You didn't answer my question. And maybe the gentleman sitting next to you can offer that estimate. What's been the time frame for other businesses of this nature to have that approval?
Typically, it really depends on the number of applications that's processed through the IDFPR, but we've seen it range anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So, but yeah, usually you're trying to turn it around within 2 weeks of the application. But it like I said, depending on how many applications are being processed at the time, it could, like the last one we did was in January, and it took them about 6 weeks.
Okay, thank you for answering that and giving me the range. I appreciate it. I have nothing further.
Dan?
So I don't fully understand the cause of delays. You mentioned a couple of things. One is a subtenant issue, which I don't really understand. If you could explain that. And then do you have a use permit now that you said you were delayed in getting? That was part of the holdup?
I'm not sure if that's, actually, I don't have the background on that one. I'm relatively new to the game on this one. I'd have to look into that and get back to you in terms of what was actually obtained at that point and why there was a delay in
So
getting that.
are you asking for the actual license to operate the business?
I guess it was presented that there was a delay because they didn't have a use permit. And I'm just wondering if they do have that use permit now.
I thought you were talking about the licensing issues that you had to go through.
Yeah, no, I'd need to get some background on that, what actually triggered that, or why there was a delay in getting that after, a year and a half, 2 years.
Do you have it now?
Yeah, well, I believe we have that use permit now, and now we're requesting that be extended.
Well, we can't extend that.
It's a special use permit, I believe,
Oh,
is what
oh,
you're
you-
referring
No,
to.
no,
No,
we're
I'm talking about-
about the license to operate the facility from the state.
I'll have to get back to you guys on that. I'm not sure exactly the background of that.
Because regardless, if we were to change our minds and give you the extension, I'm hearing you're not gonna open on August 1st. I don't know how you can when it's gonna be, the IDFR would take 2 to 6 weeks. When do you get that? On August 1st, and then you can open up 6 weeks later, and then you've got the licensing issue that we're confused about. We thought you already had that license and you were ready to roll. So if we were to change our mind and give you that extension, we're not even sure you could open up by August 1st. We're not even sure you could open up by December 1st.
So the IDFPR, we do have the license still in place, and as long as there's progress, and there is significant, as long as we can present that there's significant progress, they will allow us to keep the license, and it's still in our hands.
So is there a deadline for you on being able to keep that license?
I believe the end of the year. I'd have to double check.
Okay. So, anyway, Dan? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's very confusing, and Ray, I know you're looking for our input, right? So my input would be that we need to understand if they have the permits to run this business from the state in place, right, to open up the way they want to, or I don't, if they're building
And I
it to
could-
sell to someone else, or I don't really understand. What's the subtenant issue? What was that? Who's a subtenant in this business?
What happened is we went through the framing process, and when the framing process was completed, the situation was, is myself and our operations team went through the building, and we realized that the construction that was completed to this day, because you heard us talk about how many businesses we've operated and are currently operating, we looked around the building and we found some areas where we could get a larger showroom, a more efficient vault area where you're actually picking the orders, getting it to the people out in the building, having a nicer lobby, having a more efficient break room for the employees. There were a lot of areas we found out we could correct by just making some interior wall changes in the building. So we went through and had the architect draw those up. We submitted those, and those were submitted to the construction team March 13th. And because we're under such timeline, I was hoping they would do a quick review, get them back to us. On March 25th, we followed up, and you know, whenever you change walls, there's electrical and different things that happen that have to move. That was done, and then on March 29th, 2 weeks later, we were informed that our changes were denied because of the partition wall between us and the tenant, and we knew nothing about a tenant at all. So on April 2nd, we called into the city. We were well, it wasn't us, it was the architect was informed that the reason these were denied is because the Sausage King of Chicago came in and wanted to rent that other space on the other side. It had nothing to do with us. We didn't bring it in. We didn't want it done. So immediately then we were submitting things to the city, the building department, letters that said we don't have a tenant. We were submitting additional drawings. We were paying the architect to do updated items to show engineering and information. And until April 12th, which was 29 days later, we weren't able to move forward in the project. So we actually had a physical 30-day delay. And then we had to call for an inspection after we made those updates, which was like 5 days after that. So technically, we were blocked for moving forward for over a month. And we were dead in the water. We couldn't have the electricians work. I couldn't have HVAC. I could nothing done during that time. And so that's what happened. And, you know, it was just due to everybody not knowing what was going on. We to this day, I couldn't tell you who the Sausage King is. I don't know how he got in the middle and how the misunderstanding happened.
So
we're not-
Roche, do you know about this sublease, or?
Perhaps I can get it started. So first of all, just to clear things up, for those of you who are not movie buffs, the reference to the Sausage King of Chicago is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So I don't know what you're referring to, CJ.
Okay.
You've brought that up multiple times, and I brought that to your attention as well. So I don't know who that is or whatever. What this whole issue really started from is that their plan submittal, it did identify a subtenant space, and that does change and affect the plan review. And then when we called attention to it, they have a demising wall which separates off the area that the subtenant would have gone into, separated out from the rest of the building. And that did cause some confusion, and it did prompt a full review. So obviously all the components, the HVAC, electrical, plumbing, everything got affected because we were anticipating that there would be another business back there. I don't know what prompted it or what confusion was going on their side, but yes, it took approximately 3 weeks to get that initial review done. There was nothing, however, keeping them from moving from their side of the demising wall forward. They could have proceeded, and I'm not quite sure why you're coming back with that conclusion, that you couldn't proceed with the rest of the building, or at least ask. We also have the other dates, also, that I've asked Sarosh to pull together, that showed that there were also subsequent plan changes, some of which were turned around with reviews as quick as 2 days. There was actually one plan submittal that was submitted before we can even turn around the previous plan change. So there were other changes going on as well that caused some delay, but we were turning them around as quickly as possible. So I will acknowledge that there was a bit of confusion and miscommunication about what the subtenant space is, but let's be clear that that wasn't a delay on the Community Development Department's fault. That was whatever was going on the plan submittal, and that they were responding to what you were submitting. Now, beyond that, I'll ask Sarosh, you could also jump in here if there's anything relevant. They did pass their rough framing inspections as of late, by the end of April. But then we saw an absence of any activity over the course of May and into June. And it wasn't until we started contacting Nirvana and Block Justice, the names that we had, saying, is anything going on? I know that I was contacted by the mayor and several of the trustees over that time period as well, asking for updates. So Sarosh, you want to jump in and add anything at this point?
I think you covered it all. Thanks.
Thank you.
So, Ray, let me be very clear. The submission drawings from before that were approved and the submission drawings for the update of the interior changes, there was no change in any of the documentation, verbiage, or wording, and they were denied on the 29th. So how did that happen if there was no change in our drawings?
So the first set of drawings that you all submitted showed future tenant in the space that you're not going to use. So our review comments back to you was, if there's a future tenant, while we don't mind that there's going to be a future tenant, the wall between your space and the future tenant has to be a demising wall, meeting certain fire separation requirements, to which you all intended that y'all did not want to do that because y'all didn't have a future tenant. So our answer was then just remove the notation saying that you have a future tenant over there, which that response took a while. And then finally, when you came back to us saying that, okay, we're not going to have a future tenant, then we were fine with not having a demising wall, meeting the required fire separation going in. So that's, we were, as Mr. Keller was saying, we were simply reacting to everything you told us.
Okay,
So finally, one other issue related to that is in the granted of the terms of this extension letter that I wrote back in December, which the board all had a copy of. It said in there that if there was any issue or any question about that might cause delays, that might miss the deadline, you were to notify us immediately. We heard nothing from you until the second week of June. So just wanted to point out that our staff, and I want to make sure that it's clear, that our staff did everything that they could to keep this project moving. So please don't point the finger at our staff for your delays.
And we will continue to maintain the frequency of communication as you've seen as of late.
So I guess, Ray, this is the first cannabis dispensary process, right? We have a lot coming to us, right? But this is the first one we've tried to go through there. So I think, I don't know, maybe we know, but the state licensing things, I don't know if we're approving these or approve the businesses without proof of license.
I
It's
do
really
wanna
unclear
clarify
whether
that.
they have their license or not. And then I don't really fully understand the delays, if that was the case, other than financing or other issues on their side. I'm not really that opposed to extending for another month to finish this off, but I guess I have real questions about just, the solidness, right, and the practicality that they're gonna be able to open up and operate. I think there's some things here that make me a little bit uneasy to feeling that they either have the state licenses or the financing properly to do the job held. And I would say to you guys, I mean, there's a risk, boards change, trustees change, right? You're spanning a great period of time here, right? Where the approval of this use might not go in your favor, down in the future, So I don't know, I'm gonna need to get this worked out, but Ray, that's my input to what we should look at to you, I think.
Thanks,
I do want to
Dan.
explain the licensing. So we have the provisional license right now. It's a matter of completing the project and then the application, and the IDFPR grants us the full operational license upon when we have the certificate of occupancy in hand as part of the application. So right now we have the provisional license for that location. It's just a matter of getting it ready to open to get the full operational license.
Okay, Roger?
So, future tenant, so were you planning on splitting the building at some point and operating another business out of the TGI Fridays location?
Yeah, the back side of the building is actually somewhat of right now it's being used as a storage space, but that was potentially going to be a subtenant space. And we received a lead that somebody was interested in that space, which just so happened to be the Sausage King of Chicago, which, yes, I did not understand the reference until you recalled that, but, yeah, so we went down that road for a minute, and then that's what kind of created this snowball effect, and we did not communicate proactively as we should have throughout these delays, so.
So how do we, in a month from now, if we were to grant this, how do we prevent a month from now you coming back on August 1st and saying, we're not ready? What happens then, right? I'm a newer trustee, I'm catching up, I'm hearing you guys, I hear the village putting us in a pretty tight spot, to be very upfront and honest with you.
Yes.
Making references of great movies, but it doesn't mean crap to us. Like, what are you saying, right? Like, this is confusing. I think you're confusing half of us, and this is getting a little goofy to me. I mean, you are an owner-operator
Yes.
of a dispensary. We've had 3 come to us in the last 2 months, and I'm sure more are coming. Like, this is craziness to me. I mean, that's mine. 2, so you say August 1st or construction, 2 to 6 weeks from there, who knows how long training. So we're going months now. Right?
No, it won't be months. We are going to try, like I said, within 2 weeks after that, we will do our absolute best. That's the plan.
Okay. I mean, well, obviously.
I understand
yeah.
the confusion. We've recalibrated, and we're on the right track now.
Yeah, and in the comments, I mean, you bought TGI Fridays. You guys knew what you were getting into, right? Fortunately, it's not our problem, in full respect. I mean,
Well, they didn't buy it. It's owned by Hamilton Partners.
Got it. But I appreciate you using our neighbor. I mean, they're great people. They do work at my house. I think this is all kind of, coming at us full circle. We hear kind of our side. We hear your guys' side. We'll provide the feedback to Ray and kind of take it from there.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good. We appreciate it.
So, for me, there's a large piece of information missing, and I get the 30-day extension for construction. But like I mentioned before, from what I hear, you may not even be able to open up until December, and that's problematic for me. And those are my mental thoughts on the date. And Roger brought up the issue of training and people and the whole thing. We're only talking construction. There's some nebulous conversation going on here about licensing and permissions and approvals from on IDFR that, we could give you and grant you an extension, but I don't know that I'm positive that this is going to open up by August 1st. When would be an opening date? I mean, that whole. What else is missing from here that we need to know about?
Yeah, so we are guaranteeing that we would have the construction done by August 1st. And this is why I requested initially for an 8-week extension instead of a 4-week, a 30-day extension, because of the time frame from applying with the IDFPR, which takes about 2 to 4 weeks regularly. Our last experience was just, they were dealing with a lot of delays, but 2 to 4 weeks is the regular standard turnaround, and it's usually 2 weeks from the IDFPR once you submit your application with a certificate of occupancy. So we're guaranteeing that we could open it by September 1st, by the end of summer.
I don't know. It's hard to believe. You had 156 weeks, what it comes down to. And we haven't really seen any movement to us, kind of being pushed towards it. So, I mean, unless we're going to tie that use to an actual open trading dollars perspective, I don't know. I'm not too supportive in that. But.
In the conversation we've had today, and I do appreciate all the people who've come up to the microphone about this topic, we've gone from 2 to 6 weeks to 2 to 4 weeks to we're really not sure what the process is. And then now I'm hearing something about a subtenant And by the way, that subtenant's name is familiar to us because they used to be at the Lake Zurich Farmers Market. It's not just a movie reference. In any event, did you do your homework? Did you see what other dispensaries allowed a subtenant? Is that a security issue? Is that going to be something in the future? Is that going to be contingent on FPR approval? You know, because if that's tied to the security of your overall building, I just feel like overall there isn't somebody with an umbrella of knowledge and straight answers and a concept of the timeline. You know, there's beautiful marble floors. Great. I'm sure the place looks great. The pictures look great. We need straight answers, and we need to know why we've lost out on months of tax revenue, which was one of the reasons that we made the approval to begin with.
CJ.
Yes, sir.
When you weren't part of the original proposal, or you were?
I was brought in November.
Okay, so up until November, you didn't even know this existed, basically.
No, sir, I did not.
Okay, so from November till now, what was the building like when you got it? I mean, you already talked about the ductwork.
Yeah. Can I approach?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Because I'm hearing CJ being the,
This is what the building looked like before. This is what it looks like now. This is what
it looked like a
outside before. This is what it looks
TGI Fridays.
like. Yeah. This is what the inside looked like before. Here and here. And that right
Okay,
there.
just to describe what I'm looking at, we're looking at a TGI Fridays, basically, without anything being done to it. And and since November, CJ, I'm gonna pass these down to the board so you can see them. CJ has, CJ's made some significant progress since November.
Yes, as was explained, in November, we were given a demolition permit, and then in January, I believe the 21st, we were given a building permit. The demolition was quite extensive. If you look at those pictures, it shows a very large bar. That bar was constructed, had concrete walls supporting in the floor. We had multiple level ceilings. On the other side, one of those pictures shows the construction of the seats and the multiple layered ceilings. Everything had to be removed. Those ceiling areas were actually metal and constructed in, and as well as the floor. I had never been in a restaurant before where they actually had metal seats bolted to the concrete. It was a very well-built building. I got to say, they put a lot of money into it. The support on the bar, they had concrete poured up in the walls, which I've never seen in my whole life, and you can see from my age, I've been building a long time. So the demo was very extensive. The floors were corrected and leveled. We even had jackhammers in there chiseling out to get rid of it, and you can see from those pictures as well how nice and level the floor is. And we gutted all the way out to the outside walls. We re-insulated. Part of the process from the construction was a insulation inspection that we passed. We redid the entire thing, as I said, to be very energy efficient. And because of Martin Enterprises and the other people involved, we were able to get rid of all the old ductwork. We redid the entire ceilings. And, you know, other than the delay from the tenant coming in for 30 days, we've been working very consistent on the building. And now that we've got over that hurdle and we were behind, we brought in additional crews. And we've had commitments from all the vendors. And even now, one of Ray's concern is people working on top of each other, which is a great concern. But, and you can bring in any of the people that are working from the local people. Our guys start before and we go home after. We're there before, after, weekends, we're there all the time. Benny came in over Labor Day and he couldn't believe that we were out there working.
Who is Benny?
Benny is the license holder, I believe.
Batavi.
Who?
The license holder. So you were referencing the license that we actually have, the provisional license Gio was referring to. That's through Botavi, right?
How do you spell that?
Botavi. So it's a provisional license that we
B-O-T-A-V-I. Okay.
and Botavi partnership possess, yes.
Well, Benny's got some reach, because last week I received a reach out from a gentleman by the name of Gerard Moorer from Congressman Danny Davis's office. I don't even think Danny Davis knows where Lake Zurich is. If you know where his district is, and he mentioned that the owner, Ben, and I didn't get the last name, was looking for some love on the 30-day extension. So I'm just mentioning that. He proceeded to blame the village for the delay, and I set him straight on that, which he appreciated, and he understood our position at that point in time, and I haven't heard from him since. So,
You know, we're working with, you know, we're doing a lot of dispensaries right now, and Lake Zurich, you know, as long as this has taken, has always been one of our first choices. That's why it's been 2 years. You know, this is near and dear to our hearts, and, you know, Benny's heart as well. So, I mean, we can provide that license that we were talking about earlier, but I'm not sure about the delays. That's what I'd need to look into as to why it took so long for the state to issue that original license, so.
well, be that as it may, I mean, for me, I was empathetic to advising Ray where I stood on granting the extension after initially being unempathetic for it. I understand there's a lot of money involved in it. I get it. But as I mentioned before, you missed the boat big time. I don't know how many of you here were here at the initial presentation, but man, it's crazy. Now, the thing that's missing for me is a hard and fast timetable on beyond the August 1st extension. What else needs to be done legitimately, not just we guess that's got to be done or we think it can be done in 2 to 6 weeks. 2 to 6 weeks is another month. So I would need that full list of everything you need to open up by a certain date before I could even think about recommending that Ray give you the extension. I understand it. I would also tell you that I don't recall a second tenant being mentioned during the initial presentation. Now, it may have been, it was 2.5 years ago, and if it was, shame on Hamilton Partners for even bringing a second tenant in when you had all this other mess going on. And then it just leaves me wondering what else is what other shoes are gonna drop. So I'm not quite sure. So nothing's gonna happen here tonight. We appreciate you all coming in here, and we get it.
Can I speak one more minute,
Sure.
please? I think what everybody's missing here, and I can help with this, because as I mentioned, I've been through this multiple times since I've been on board with Nirvana. And just so you know, I'm chairman of the Planning Commission from where I live. I've been there for 10 years doing this. So I've been in your shoes multiple times. So let me fill in the holes that I think from the board you're missing. Nirvana has opened, you heard, 20, 30 stores in multiple states. And in the audience is the operations manager for Illinois. And what's going to happen in this store and any other stores we open here, we're going to come in, I'm going to finish my construction. During that process, I'm going to start bringing in racks and tables and equipment and POS systems, and all the video equipment actually is going to start being installed this week. Our guys flying in to start doing the security that needs to be done for the state here this week. So the pieces you're missing is like, we've gone through this so many times, it's like clockwork. We're gonna bring in the equipment. We're gonna bring in the POS. We have people already on staff that are gonna hire people. We're gonna train them. We're gonna bring them in, and the store's gonna hit the ground running. And we're gonna know what products to bring in. And so the pieces you need to know, as we've been through this multiple times, we can get up and going quickly without delays of that learning curve, the delays and the pieces that need to happen that would normally delay the process because we've been through it so many times.
Then how much influence do you have on everything else that needs to be done? Outside of construction?
Outside of construction, they've been giving me more and more.
Talk to the mic,
I'm
please.
sorry. They've been giving me more and more as I've been online. I've been with the company now a year and a half, and each job, they're giving me more responsibilities. And Sabina actually has my phone number. We've been talking already about ordering materials, racks, information that needs to happen to populate the store and make it go and bring it online quickly. So the store has been great to me, and some of the people have asked me, how's the company treating you, because they've heard bad things about some other companies not getting paid as vendors. And I said, everybody gets paid, we always get paid, everything's great. And so they came in and they're almost asking, like, do you have more work for us, because we enjoy working with you so much. Go ahead.
I think the piece of the puzzle that you're asking about is the IDFPR component, right? The compliance portion, that approval in order to satisfy our license, and that I will get back to you on.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that's one of the pieces. I'm not sure what else you
No,
need to do.
that's really it.
So if you could provide us with soon,
Yep.
quickly, a listing of what you need, how long it's gonna take, and with the ultimate date being, there's a couple dates here. It would be the 30-day extension. CJ was asking, was it you, CJ, who asked for 8 weeks?
It was Geo.
Okay, it was
That's
Geo.
for the application period.
Okay. So when is it gonna open up? And then we can get back to you,
Okay.
you know?
Greg would like to say a few words.
I just wanted to clarify two things. One is I think I'm the only person that was here 2.5 years ago representing, well, Hamilton Partners, but all of the people that have spoken tonight were not there, they were not employed on this project.
Well, that was one of my questions that I have written down here.
Yeah, and
You know,
so-
how many of the people here were original presenters?
None of them.
None of them.
Except for me.
Okay.
And I think and I think because of the delays up to November, I think those individuals aren't here because it took that long to get things going. And then also, I hate to bring it up again, but the subtenant, the building is 7,000 square feet. That's way too big for a dispensary. Justice was always planning on just doing a portion in the front and leaving the back portion for a later time. And once, if a subtenant came in, keep in mind Hamilton Partners is leasing the entire building to Justice. If another tenant came in, then the plan for Justice was to go through the whole permitting process and approval process, whatever needs to be done, to get approval for that subtenant at that time. It's just during the process, I think, I'm not sure where the confusion came in. The sausage guy expressed interest. He was referred to me. I immediately referred it to the then representative from Justice. And I don't think anybody from Justice ever approached the village about it. I'm not positive about that. I think the sausage person then started calling, asking questions, and that's when the village said, wait a minute, there's another tenant. We don't know anything about that, so.
Okay. Maybe if you have a problem with the getting that whatever that IDFR is, maybe you reach out to Ben and Danny Davis. Maybe he can help you. He's a congressman. You know, use the grease there, right? So you need to get to me or to Ray a hard list of what the dates are, and then we'll get back to you quickly.
Understood. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, moving forward. Next item is trustee reports. Are there any trustee reports tonight? Nope. How about village staff
Yeah,
reports?
I got
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry, Roger?
Good. So I'm excited to share that 2 new communication boards have recently been installed in Paulus and Breezewald Park. Communication board, for those that aren't familiar with it, is an arrangement of symbols, pictures, and photos that individuals can use to communicate with those around them. Since everyone is unique and speech can be challenging for some, these boards are vital tools that help bridge the communication gap. They promote essential communication, inclusion, and development. Creating an environment of inclusivity and understanding is crucial. Supporting these efforts recognize the hard work and dedication put into making our community a more welcoming, happy place for those that can't speak. The funding for these boards came from Special Recreation Association of Central Lake County Fund, say that 5 times fast, which is specifically designated for accessible projects. I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to Bonnie Caputo from the Park and Recreations Board for making this vision a reality. I want to thank Jason Schuler from the Public Works. He did an outstanding job going out there with me and making sure we put it in the right spot. I also want to thank Tammy Napolitano, Shannon Morrow, and Megan Chagru for the incredible assistance of that design. We did not outsource that design. We did that design ourselves and saved a tremendous amount of money. You know, I'm looking forward to continuing and support for inclusive community projects and seeing the positive impact these communications will have on our community. And to all the parents of children with neurodiversities, we hear you, and Lake Zurich will continue to support you. So thanks for all that. I appreciate it. Those boards are outstanding. If you haven't already, take a look at it because they are being used. Unlike some people think they aren't, they will be used. So thanks.
Yep, they are. Good job. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, staff reports, anybody?
Kyle has one.
Kyle.
Mayor, hello. Just a quick plug, hot on the heels of our household chemical waste recycling event at the high school last weekend where we had over 600 cars show up. Next week is your one time a year that you can put your electronic waste curbside on your garbage day. Next week, if you're a Tuesday pickup, you do it on Tuesday, July 8th or Tuesday, July 9th. If you're a Wednesday pickup, it'll be July 10th. This is, you get one time a year to put your e-waste curbside, and the garbage company, LRS, will pick it up and take it away. You can put pretty much anything you want out there. There's no extra charge, up to 5 items. We have all got old e-waste laying around. Computer towers, laptops, stereo equipment, keyboards, speakers, VCR, DVD players, printers, cords, unlimited cords. If you have any of this laying around your house, please put it curbside next week on Tuesday or Wednesday. We are trying to recycle as much as we can. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Anybody else? Nope. Huh?
No, sir.
Okey-doke. Then that concludes our business for tonight. Next regularly scheduled board meeting is July 15th. May I have a motion, please, to adjourn?
So move, Chagru.
Chagru, and a second, please.
I'll second Euchre.
Mary Beth, and please call the roll.
Trustee Riley?
Aye.
Trustees Chagru?
Aye.
Trustee Bobrowski?
Aye.
Trustee Euchre?
Aye.
Mayor Pointer?
Aye. Okay, we are adjourned. Have a safe and healthy Independence Day, and we'll be back here on July 15th. Thanks.